Hello, Colin Henderson here. Now, normally on this occasion I would do a tip update, but I'd actually like to talk about something that happened this evening. It's non-tip related and I do apologise for that, so the recycling crowd may want to sit this one out. For those of you sticking around, however, I had quite an interesting evening, to say the least. So, Hilary and I were due to go to this party. One of her work friends was turning 60. However, Hilary came down with food poisoning last night. Now, as she claims, it's a stomach bug, that's been going round. But personally, I think she's got food poisoning from ordering a steak. Listen to this. Rare. I mean, really, for me, that's just asking for it. I hear people say, "Ooh, steak's much nicer if it's pink." Well, I've got two replies for that. A, why take the risk? B, I disagree. Years of human evolution and ingenuity has allowed us to prepare our food so it's properly cooked and free of parasites. So, to willingly risk pathogenic infection for the sake of some stupid outmoded French culinary fashion is utterly bewildering to me. I digress. Hilary was ill, but she wanted me to go out on my own, just so we didn't let her friend down. And also, although she didn't actually say it, to make the party more interesting for the other guests. Now, I like to consider myself a very interesting person. I find some people like to make friends by cracking wise and acting like clowns. I don't care for that. What I enjoy is interesting factual discussion and debates at parties, which is, I have to say, much more socially attractive. So, despite having to attend on my own, I was looking forward to it. Now, she told me the party started at 7, but I got there at 6, an hour early. I'd never been to this woman's house before, so I wanted plenty of time to check the fire escape routes were clear. Common mistake at house parties, you see. Exits blocked with chairs, tables, other party miscellanea and what have you. Now, at work, you'll know, I'm a volunteer fire marshal, and it's my belief that when you become a fire marshal at work, you become a fire marshal at home, and indeed at other people's homes. Now, when I got there, in this instance, the front door was fine, mercifully, but guess what was by the back door? Yeah, her husband's bicycle. I said, "Wendy, you've got 2 fire exits, use both." Well, to be honest, I shouted it as she was upstairs in the back at the time. Her grandson had let me in. So, after an hour of waiting for the other guests to arrive, and an unfortunate incident in which I saw Wendy wearing nothing but a towel, I'd wandered upstairs to check for dry rot, you see. The party got underway. Now, granted, it was largely people from Hilary's work, so I was somewhat of an outsider, but I didn't want to just stand there and say nothing. I got involved in the conversation straight away. Now, there was this one lady who was talking about a camping trip to Canada she was organising with her husband. My health and safety officer hat went straight on. Yes, just like the fire marshal, I'm on duty 24/7, not just when I'm at work. So I said to the woman, "How long are you going for to Canada?" To which she replied, 5 weeks. So I said, "There are lots of bears in Canada and they can actually smell menstruation. So I hope you'll be taking measures to prevent your uterine cycle." Well, she and the rest of the group gave me some very funny looks. I was thinking, for goodness sake, don't shoot the messenger, I'm just giving you a genuine warning. However, I clocked it. I'd made a real social faux pas, hadn't I? Luckily, I was able to rectify it in time. I apologised to them and I said, "I'm very sorry about that, I don't know what came over me. Judging by how old you look, you'll have stopped menstruating years ago." And with that awkward situation cleared up, I moved on to another group. Now, I got chatting to a slightly younger gathering, but I didn't have a problem with that. I don't mind the young people, as long as they're willing to be corrected. I've been around a lot longer than they have, after all. One chap came over to join us, and he must have been in his 20s, and you'll never guess what he was wearing. Jeans. I mean, for goodness sake, it's someone's birthday, you're not lying around on the sofa, you're attending a party. I didn't say anything to him though, I'm not a stickler, I let things like that slide, now and again. To be honest though, this turned out to be rather a big mistake. I really should have said something to him straight away and put him in his place, because he turned out to be rather a vulgar character. Now, the conversation turned onto myself, and I was telling the group how Hilary knew Wendy and so on. I also mentioned that on the weekends, Hilary helps out with a charity, at which point this the jeans-wearing chap, Chris he said his name was, said, "Oh, she's not like my girlfriend, is she? One of the charity muggers." Well, at this, the whole group started laughing, and Chris stood there, looking very smug with himself. I smiled politely, but, to be honest, the comment had really got to me. I mean, who says something like that to someone they've only just met? You could tell that this Chris bloke hadn't been to many parties. Either that or he had some sort of learning difficulty that didn't allow him to regulate his behaviour in social situations. Now, after observing him at length for signs of emotional and behavioural difficulties, but registering nothing, I followed him into the kitchen where we were alone. I said to him, "Excuse me, young man, it's Chris, isn't it?" "Yes, that's right," he said. I replied, "I don't know if you recall the conversation we were having about an hour ago about my wife Hilary working for a charity." Oh, I think so," he goes. Well, I immediately reprimanded him. "Well, can I just say, I thought what you said was actually very rude. You don't know me, and you don't know my wife." At this point, he tries to interrupt. He says, "Oh, I didn't mean anything," but I don't let him finish. I was fuming. "Will you not interrupt me, please, young man? Let me finish!" I boomed. "Right, as I was saying, you do not know my wife, you don't know me. I'll have you know, she actually works in a charity shop, so she's not a mugger, as you so rudely described her. And on that note, those charity fundraisers, not muggers, are people who are working very hard to raise money on the streets for good causes. They get enough aggravation from people and could do without the likes of you cracking wise at their expense." I also said to him, "You mentioned your girlfriend works for a charity. I do not think she would appreciate the way you were talking about her. I mean, I was offended, so goodness knows how she would feel. Right, I've said my piece, and as I said, I thought what you said was very disrespectful, and you need to watch your behaviour, young man." He then replied, "Oh, I'm sorry, mate, I was just making a joke, I didn't mean anything by it." I jumped right in. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, I'm not wanting to make a big deal out of it, you know, don't shoot the messenger." He was really trying to turn it into a huge issue, and I was fine with it. As far as I'm concerned, all in the past, forgotten about. "Look, it's already forgotten about," I said to him. "Please just drop it." And then off he went. You know, honestly, I don't enjoy having run-ins with these people, but I wasn't going to have someone speak about my wife like that. Anyway, after that confrontation, I didn't really feel like talking to people after that, and I just sort of floated around the fringes. I did, however, see another bloke about my age, as a man named Ron. He was stood around not talking to anyone, but he looked respectable and smartly dressed. He clocked me and came over for a chat. I have to say I wasn't initially in the mood, but after a few minutes, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed his company. He listened to all my theories on health and safety, he didn't mind me correcting him on historical facts, and when I engaged him in a debate, he said I was the worthy winner. Now, I have to say, I'm not one for being melodramatic, but I'm pretty sure that tonight I have met my best friend. The only downside is, he's a bit of a joker, which I don't care so much for. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy humour, where appropriate. What I don't enjoy is silliness. Now, this Ron fellow, he had a few sensible jokes, but most of them were borderline daft. Then again, nobody's perfect, and what's good about Ron is he doesn't have many friends either, so he's got lots of free time. We exchanged phone numbers, and we said we want to meet up again. He suggested tomorrow, but I've had to postpone until the weekend. Because tomorrow, a new series of Big Brother is being launched, so I'll have my pen in hand ready to write the letters of complaint. So, after all the drama of the party, it actually had quite a good outcome. More updates to come. Unfortunately, I'm playing nursemaid to my ailing wife, and she's very, very fussy about eating every 16 hours or so. So I should probably go and prepare dinner. Perhaps a nice steak. Cooked. All the way through for a change. Regards, Colin Henderson.